Oh, what a night in Budapest. That Europa League final between Sevilla and Roma had it all. We saw one streak end, one streak continue as Sevilla make it a perfect 7 for 7 in Europa League finals. You were on the call for this one, Nico. And now that you've had kind of some hours to digest everything, for you, what's the biggest takeaway from this win for Sevilla?
The biggest takeaway from this win from Sevilla. Am I going to do a microcosm or a macrocosm?
I think start big and then we'll
because
get into the nitty-gritty.
I think you can't talk about the Sevilla without putting into context where they were at the beginning of the season, fighting relegation. There were signs outside of the club that said Pepe Castro de Misión, which is the fans asking for Pepe Castro, the president of the club, to resign. Mind you, the sporting director and the president, Monchi and Pepe Castro, were the ones that were the architects of the Sevilla of the last decade that won so many Europa Leagues. And suddenly they were like flatlining at the beginning of the season, and they grabbed the EKG, tried to revive it with firing Lopetegui, hiring Sampaoli, didn't work, another EKG, and they found Jose Luis Mendilibar out of, like, you see his career path, and there's teams that you won't recognize, that the average Spaniard wouldn't recognize, and slowly, like, I'm not even telling you he has climbed the ranks. They found him after managing Eibar, Alavés, biggest name club is Osasuna and Athletic, but other than that, he's been bottom feeder, second division type of manager, and he turned it around with a team that, you know, Suso isn't the best, but he made a difference yesterday. He's got Ocampos, Lamela. They're good players. They're not Champions League players, and now they're in the Champions League.
You could argue that they could be Champions League players, but what's impressive about
elite quality players.
Didn't Lamela have goal of the season in the Premier League last season? I mean,
with the
yeah, against my team. But I mean, there's some quality on the team. They're not a bunch of nobodies.
No. I'm not saying that. But look at what their team that were struggling. That Brian Gil and Oliver Torres. Look, Rakitic. There's a backbone of players. Rakitic with so much experience on Sevilla club legend, Jesus Navas, but they're getting older, and they
older. They are old.
They're
old.
Terms,
we're all getting older.
But what's impressive to me is Mendilibar to make those substitutions at halftime, because it's one thing to be a manager of a squad and get the belief back and give them freedom to change the mood around the locker room, around the pitch. But to actually have the in-game management, to see what needs to change, that was impressive to me, because Suso made the difference because he was the link player. He was the player who could one, makes runs out from the central part of the pitch to the wide areas, but also to get on the ball, calm it down, because they didn't have possession in the first half. That was so impressive about a Mourinho, and you talk about, oh, it's so ugly, we don't want him with the national team. Mourinho played the mind games. Dybala started, and they didn't sit back and park the bus. They took the game to Sevilla, and Sevilla was shocked because now they're on the back foot. And Dybala was finding those pockets. He was getting on the ball. He's playing with 1.5 feet. I mean, the ankle is gone. You could see how he was running. He doesn't have the normal push-off, yet he's still a difference maker. And as soon as he came out, the game changed because they didn't have anyone. And so that's when he had to change the game. They weren't letting Sevilla play.
Ball would get to half field and Roma would be on the ball. Look how Rakitic gets forced off the ball by Cristante. Mancini comes in, slots the pass in for Dybala. It was a different Roma. It was a more imposing Roma. And without Dybala, the drop-off wasn't big. It wasn't massive. It was extraordinarily significant.
And that's why you have to park the bus. That's why he had to, because he had no options. That's why he's won 5 cups. 5 European competitions he's won because of that style. He had to adjust.
Not last night. Or yesterday.
He lost in pens.
And they finished the game with 33% possession, and they controlled the ball in the first half. That lets you know how insanely atrocious.
Thin the squad is.
How insanely atrocious it was to watch that second half. I'm not saying he had other options. I'm saying traditionally this is the way he likes to play the game. This is his style, and it sucked.
So
that's it.
It's a winning style.
Was it?
Yeah,
He wins. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. He has 5
They won.
European
They won.
titles.
He
Oh,
didn't
no,
throw
no.
his medal in the stand.
But he has 5 European titles.
Are you
Did he lift
forgetting
one
the fact-
yesterday?
Are you
he
forgetting the
has
fact
5
he's won
year-
5 European
I'm
finals?
giving it to him. He's won in the past. One of those was Porto back in the day. We're acting like this is the way
He won a
forward.
European competition last season.
Okay,
Last
and?
season.
And?
Yes.
What do you mean and he got to a Europa League final
Yep.
the
And-
following season.
Look,
you're not giving this guy
Make him
credit.
a pundit. Hire him CBS for one reason and one reason only. So he can't be the manager of the men's national team.
Okay.
Hire him CBS. I think they would have to fire all of us 3 times
How-
to
Make
pay
him money.
Mourinho what
So there were
he's
there were
asking.
two penalties that weren't called in this match. One that would have gone against Sevilla, one against Roma. The second one that was not called, that would have been for Roma, feels like, they feel like they were very hard done by in that instance.
Yeah.
Nico, do you feel? I
He
mean,
got back.
it would have changed everything.
It's tough because I think at that point in the game, Roma was banking on those moments to kind of dig him out of a hole. And there's a handball. The ball touches the arm of Fernando. It's a cross inside of the box, and Anthony Taylor doesn't call it. And in the Premier League referee, we've seen those called.
Yeah.
On the top of the handball situation, his arm is here.
Yeah.
It's not a penalty. So I get both. I get the arguments of it's got to be a pen. And on top of that, you see this Roma squad? It is not good.
No, it's not
So
good.
you have to defend like that. You have to park the bus. If you want to win the trophy, if you go up and down and keep it open, you're going to get
if you
blown
give
out of the
Sevilla-
water.
if
You guys are
gives-
acting like he won, bro.
Is Mourinho
one-
back with Roma next year? 'Cause at the press conference, he said, "I'm going on vacation
He
on
needs a
Monday,
vacation, bro. He
but
looks stressed.
The
the
only-
players need better. I need better. I don't know. He left
Susanna,
it very wide open."
The only way he's back is if they give him money to invest in this squad.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, I don't see him because he'll say, "How can I win with this squad?
Oh,
I
how
have
can I
nothing.
make-
I have no depth.
Not
I have
even win.
Nothing.
I don't think you can. If they invest, I don't think their expectation is to win off the bat. Just make top 4. And when you have Mourinho, you want Mourinho managing your team in the Champions League, not in domestic football, because they're not playing Europe full stop next season. So
Yeah.
what incentive does Mourinho have if their squad is super thin, has got one big superstar when he's used to managing teams with top caliber players, at least 3 in one per line, a striker, a midfielder.
He stands a
and
better
defender.
chance of sitting out and waiting. There's gonna be open opportunities to manage a big club. He's still a big name. He's won 5. He's won many
So if he, won the,
competitions.
if he was available for the U.S.,
No.
you would say no.
Nope.
So who would you pick?
Not him.
Who would you pick?
I'd pick you before I picked him.
Who would you
both
pick?
get paid the
Nah.
same anyway.
Who would you pick? If you wouldn't pick Mourinho, if he was like, "I want to coach the U.S.," and you're like, "Nah," who would you pick instead?
Big name?
Eh,
Or
anyone.
I'd rather see someone like the
That's
guy
realistic.
from. I'd rather see the guy from Brazil, Diniz. I don't know, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Who has like a crazy new style where it's like everyone camps on one side of the pitch. I think fits our athleticism and our team
Yeah,
way
that
better
sounds like a
than
good-
parking the bus.
That
Diniz
sounds like
was
a good
the
idea.
Fluminense.
Even
Diniz?
That sounds like a good idea.
I can. Wow.
the sarcasm
Do you smell
dripping from
sarcasm?
Charlie Davies.
Sarcasm?
Wow. Okay.
I'm just going
Agree
to
to
tell you
disagree.
something that Mourinho told the press when he got ticked off.
You ready to bleep it out?
City, I have 3 Premier Leagues, more than every other manager in the Premier League combined. 3. Respect.
Then let me tell you what he told Anthony Taylor. Go. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. That was a good one. A special one at the desk.